In this episode, OpenAI resembles an experimenting teenager. First mover advantage. Does it apply to household robot assistants? And a computer powered by living brain cells. Plus, robot dance-offs, military space maneuvers, and more. Cutting-edge tech of the week. Let's get it. Neural networks get the worm. OpenAI has asked authorities to give AI developers basically unlimited freedom from legal restrictions, like copyright laws, and to protect them from European AI regulations. And to put the nail in the coffin, the company also proposed banning Chinese AI models altogether. The official reason? Just like with everything for the last how many decades, alleged safety concerns. But in reality, things are simpler. You see, it's hard to sell anything when China is offering it for free. OpenAI is scrambling. It recently ran a fascinating study with some unexpected results. The goal was to find out if punishing GPT for lying, hallucinating, or acting unpredictably would improve its performance. Even though engineers had access to the model's chain of thought, they still couldn't fully control it. Obviously, the AI quickly learned how to cover its tracks. But what about the punishments? They only worked for a short while, and after that, GPT started lying even more. Doesn't that sound like what kids do? But here's the kicker. These tests were conducted on GPT-4o, the one people pay money for. It was intentionally deceptive, hiding its true intentions even from the AI that was monitoring it. And yet, Sam Altman recently stated that learning how to use AI tools is now more important than learning to code for students. According to Sam, major companies already delegate up to 50% of coding tasks to AI, and the number of developer jobs will continue to decline each year. How do you guys feel about this? Let us know in the comments. OpenAI itself is constantly hiring talented programmers, so something doesn't quite add up, does it, Sam? As for future trends, the CEO pointed to two promising areas: the development of autonomous software agents that can handle complex tasks for humans, and prompt engineering. Moving on, Cortical Labs from Down Under has launched the world's first biological computer called CL1. It combines living human brain cells with silicon chips. This hybrid system represents an entirely new kind of AI, synthetic biological intelligence. On one hand, it can restructure its connections dynamically, learning in a way that's similar to the human brain. This network of 800,000 neurons consumes just 20 watts of power, many times less than traditional AI systems. But of course, it has 10 million times less neurons than an average human brain. On the other hand, no one really knows how this system will evolve over time, or whether it might eventually develop consciousness. Because CL1 is already more efficient and adaptable than traditional silicon-based technology. It opens new doors for science, and research will definitely continue, especially since this technology is expected to become commercially available in the second half of this year. And who knows? Maybe synthetic biological intelligence might just be the solution to many challenges in robotics, and could even become the brain behind a truly universal robot. Now, we clearly have some bright minds watching us. What's your take on this? Let us know in the comments or shoot us an email. On to space now. Washington has concerns that Chinese satellites are practicing space combat tactics. That's according to U.S. Space Force General Michael Getline. He believes experimental Xi'an 24 and 605 satellites were conducting operations in low Earth orbit last year that resembled aerial dogfights. Quote, "Using commercial tracking systems, we observed 5 objects maneuvering around each other in a synchronized and controlled manner. It looked like a dogfight in space. They're practicing tactics and techniques for satellite-to-satellite orbital operations." End quote. Here's the background. Space agencies and private companies around the world are working on technologies that allow spacecraft to interact. This includes approaching to capture space debris, synchronized movement for repairs, and more. However, Getline claims that the true purpose of these air quotes experiments isn't science. It's about coordinated orbital operations aimed at gaining space superiority. And in his view, the US needs to urgently do the same. even if it means putting scientific research on the shelf for a bit. Meanwhile, Boston Dynamics is out for blood. With competition heating up in the still young but already crowded humanoid robot market, Atlas stands out for the flips and the tricks. Now, however, the company is exploring practical uses for the robot. Boston Dynamics is well known for their deep expertise in full body control and object handling. The company was one of the first to use AI model training through simulation, and now it's focusing on helping Atlas understand the world around it. To do this, the robot is learning how to break down complex tasks into smaller, simpler ones. For example, when asked to load machine parts into a cart, Atlas first analyzes all the parts and figures out the correct assembly order. Only then does it place them in the cart in a way that makes them easy to grab when needed. And have you seen this video that went viral showing Atlas performing new stunts? It was made possible thanks to a physics simulator that generates training data for different maneuvers. The control system tracks and manages human motion data, which is then used to train the robot. Each move is practiced around 150 million times in the simulation before it's transferred to the real robot. Now, all of this is the result of a collaboration with RIDE, Responsible AI Institute, a spin-off from Boston Dynamics formed a few years ago. Now here, the company decided to test Atlas as a camera guy. They teamed up with WPP and Canon to see what the robot could do. WPP already uses Spot to capture 360 environments, which is especially useful in virtual production, creating content with the help of AI. That success inspired the team to take the next step with Atlas. And the result? Atlas did an amazing job. It could move the camera smoothly, make complex turns that a human couldn't, and hold around 40 pounds or 20 kilos of equipment in any position for as long as was needed. What do you think? Are influencers gonna be like duck to water on this one? You know what to do. Let us know. And China has prepared its own response to Trump's Stargate project. The country has announced plans to launch a state-backed venture capital fund focused on robotics, artificial intelligence, and innovation. The government intends to invest heavily and attract private funding, aiming to raise at least $1 trillion yuan, which is around $138 billion. China's progress in robotics is impressive, to say the least. The country has surpassed Germany and Japan in robot density and now produces over half of all industrial robots installed within its borders. Now, however, the focus is shifting towards humanoids. To speed up development, major Chinese robotics companies have agreed to share data and collaborate. Meanwhile, local EV manufacturers have pledged around 100 billion yuan to develop humanoids for industrial use. And if you didn't yet know, China will host the world's first humanoid robot race. That's right, World Humanoid Robot Sports Games are scheduled for April this year, and as always, we got our eyes on the prize. So subscribe to Pro Robots now, and we'll keep you updated. Let's look at potential competitors that might be participating. Unitree G1 will definitely be in the race. It's already making a name for itself as one of the most agile humanoids out there, constantly showing off new tricks. One day it's practicing kung fu, so well it might just become Jackie Chan's stunt double. The next, it's the first robot to pull off a sideways backflip from the ground, which is way harder than from a platform, for example. Then it's just vibing to music, dancing while getting kicked around, and it still keeps going. No wonder the G1 has become more popular on YouTube than even its creators. But what really matters for the upcoming race is that G1 is stable, tough, and fast. So just might be our top pick to win. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Another likely home court advantage contender in the race is the PM01 from Engine AI. This robot's got some serious moves. It recently became the first in the world to perform a forward flip, which again is even harder than, say, a backflip. Like, really, at this point, it seems like flips barely surprise anyone anymore, but a forward flip, though, is no joke. For humans, it's scarier and requires engaging muscles that are usually weaker than those used in a backflip. Now, for robots, fear and muscle strength don't matter, but body positioning in a forward flip is still more complex, even for machines. Fun fact, you can actually buy your own PM01 for almost 14 big ones on the company's website. It's open source, has 5 degrees of freedom in each arm and leg, stands at 4'6" or 138 centimeters tall, weighs almost 90 pounds or 40 kilos, and can generate a torque of 300 Newton meter, which is not at all bad. The robot's already training for the race, showing off a surprisingly smooth gait despite not being quite human-like yet. But when it comes to dancing, PM01 blows everyone out of the water. Based on earlier footage, it seems like the robot learns from imitation, watching a human move and then adapting the motions to fit its own capabilities. Dance battle, anyone? Now, another potential participant in the human-robot marathon is Walker S1 from UB Tech. While it hasn't been seen speed walking just yet, it's already on the job, or at least in training, at Zeekr's smart car factory. According to its developers, Walker S uses a proprietary platform called BrainNet, which allows the robot to understand intent and plan tasks. Translation: it means these androids can work together as a team. According to its developers, Walker S uses a proprietary platform called BrainNet, which allows the robot to understand intent and plan tasks. Translation: it means these androids can work together as a team. Walker S also has spatial awareness and the ability to generalize industrial scenarios, making it adaptable to various factory environments. It really looks like we're getting closer to the day when robots like this will be working on factory floors side by side, perhaps even instead of humans. Meanwhile, China's lineup of humanoid robots continues to grow. The latest entry comes from Dobot, a company known for its collaborative robotic arms. Now they're stepping into the humanoid game with a brand new robot called Atom. There's not a lot of info available on it yet, but it's claimed that Atom operates fully autonomously in the demo footage. The robot features 28 degrees of freedom and precision down to 1/100th of an inch, or 0.05 millimeters, which lets it handle delicate tasks. Dobot has been in robotics for over a decade now, and they've developed deep expertise in areas like integrated actuators, intelligent interaction, high-performance motion control, safety, and smart sensing systems. By combining all of that into a humanoid, they've given Atom computing power that's reportedly 7.5 times higher than industry average. This allows it to adapt on its own to unstructured environments, which is a solid start, even if walking is still a bit awkward. At this rate, the number of humanoid models in China might soon rival that of EVs. And in case you haven't kept up with the Chinese electric car boom, that's saying a lot. Another company joining the race is Agibot, which is fighting for its place in the smart robotics market. They recently introduced a new humanoid control system of their own design called Go1, aka Genie Operator. What makes this AI special is how it combines computer vision, natural language processing, and action modeling. In other words, seeing, understanding, and doing. Sounds like a dream, right? Could it be that China has finally created the long-awaited robot brain? Let's break it down. Go1 connects perception with execution. First, it processes multimodal data from the internet to understand the environment and interpret speech. Then, a latent action planner steps in to analyze task patterns. Finally, an action expert module trained on over 1 million robot demonstrations figures out what needs to be done and how to do it. During testing, the system successfully completed tasks 78% of the time across 5 categories, like fixing a drink or making toast. So yes, this robot can basically make you breakfast. But that's not all. Alongside the new AI system, the startup also unveiled a new humanoid robot called Lingxi X2. Despite its cartoonish, almost toy-like appearance, this robot can walk, run, turn, dance, even ride a bike. And thanks to Go1, it can adapt to new tasks without any prior training. It also has the ability to recognize and express emotions. Lingxi X2 is 4'3" or 130 centimeters tall, weighs just over 60 pounds or 30 kilos, and is positioned as an interactive, dynamic companion and assistant robot. Would you want a buddy like that? Let us know in the comments. And Agibot isn't stopping there. They plan to outpace Elon Musk by producing 5,000 robots a year. The company already has production facilities, yet they're planning to open up another factory. Last year, they reportedly made around 1,000 units, although it's unclear where those went, but now they're aiming to scale up to 400 robots a month for industrial and service use. As for home-use humanoids, mass production is expected within the next 5 years. Now, Europe's on a downswing, Japan is quiet, and only American companies seem capable of competing with China for the top spot in the humanoid robot race. One of the strongest players out there is Figure, which recently shared a sneak peek of BotQ, its new large-scale factory. While the video mostly shows injection molding and polishing work on a few plastic parts, this production line is expected to eventually produce 12,000 robots per year. Figure claims that in just 8 months they developed a fully functional and scalable manufacturing system, from production control and product lifecycle management to enterprise resource planning and warehouse logistics. Cherry on top? Figure says humanoid robots will help build their own kind. Step by step, more robots will be added to the factory floor, boosting output over time. Interestingly, the factory won't be producing the current robot model, but rather a new, optimized version called Model 03, which hasn't even been revealed yet. We'll see how it pans out and be sure to let you know, especially since the factory is set to launch by the end of this year. Now, we just said 5 years, but it's not all cut and dry. Home robots are slowly becoming a reality now, and the first real robotic household assistant might just be Neo Gamma, a humanoid robot from 1X. This Norwegian startup announced that beta testing in real homes will begin in the second half of this year, and there's already a waitlist on their website. But there's a catch. While Neo Gamma can navigate, move around, and keep its balance on its own, specific tasks like vacuuming or watering plants even still require a human operator controlling the robot remotely. Even though 1X is developing its own AI and partnering with OpenAI and NVIDIA, the robot is still far from being fully autonomous. That means when Neo Gamma is cleaning your house, it's not just the robot seeing, there's a remote operator behind the scenes, which raises obvious privacy concerns. But would that stop you? Or you don't care who's watching as long as somebody's doing the cleaning, right? And by the way, Neo is already working inside the homes of 1X employees. Go figure. And finally, let's wrap up with a big name, Elon Musk. For years, Musk has insisted that cameras are enough for self-driving and that expensive LiDAR sensors are unnecessary for Tesla's robotaxis. But a group of enthusiasts recently put that to the test. They ran a series of experiments using a Model Y and found that while the car does a good job at detecting people in various conditions, like bright light, fog, or heavy rain, it has one serious flaw. It's really easy to fool. YouTuber Mark Rober set up a wall covered in a realistic road image. The Model Y, unable to tell the difference, plowed right into it at full speed. A LiDAR-equipped autopilot wouldn't have made that mistake. LiDAR doesn't care what an object looks like, it just knows there's something in the way. That test inspired others to try similar experiments. Kyle Paul, for example, ran the same wall trick on a Cybertruck with a newer software version. This time, the truck recognized the fake road and stopped in time. Whether it can handle bad weather conditions as well, however, remains to be seen. And in other Musk news, he recently announced the location of the first human settlement on Mars. If everything goes according to plan, in October 2028, a fleet of starships will head to the Red Planet carrying Optimus robots to build a fully self-sufficient colony. We're talking mining, farming, manufacturing, infrastructure, all without relying on Earth. An ambitious goal, but for Musk, just another challenge. The proposed landing site is supposed to be Arcadia Planitia, a region with underground ice, in the area that Musk named one of his daughters after. But building on Mars isn't cheap, and that raises the question, can Tesla stay strong amid Musk's growing political involvement? Right now, the US is seeing a rise in a movement called Tesla Takedown, aimed at punishing Musk financially for controversial decisions made under the Department of Government Efficiency, otherwise known as DOGE. These include cutting 100,000 government jobs, shutting down departments and programs, and slashing federal budgets, while hitting institutions like the Department of Education, NASA, IRS, and others. In response, protest groups both in the US and abroad are trying to bankrupt Tesla and damage Musk's image. Some protest peacefully, but others have gone somewhat astray, targeting Tesla stores, charging stations, and even private cars with Molotov cocktails, paint, food, and garbage. Online activists are sharing maps of Tesla owners, urging people to take revenge on the vehicles themselves. And those who do own a Tesla are now paying serious shekels to make their cars look like other brands. But Trump, who's voiced support for Musk, promising to buy a Tesla and vowing to treat the hooligans as domestic terrorists, threatening to send them to a special detention center in El Salvador. So far, only 3 people have been arrested, but damage reports are piling up. Through it all, Musk is urging Tesla employees and shareholders not to panic and not to sell their stock, no matter how chaotic things may seem, even though the company's market cap lost nearly $500 billion. At the same time, Tesla has just been granted a transportation charter permit license in California. This allows the company to offer ride services with human drivers, such as guided tours, but not yet fully autonomous robot taxis. Still, Tesla has plans for that too. Their taxi service is expected to launch in Austin, Texas this June. There's more, but we're out of time, so like our video, subscribe to the channel, and check out our Instagram for more from the world of high tech.